that Xbox might be slightly ahead worldwide, ahead of the PS5.
Xbox is getting absolutely destroyed. Nobody wants one.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and here we have an episode of Thoughts from the Vault. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about grifters, more importantly, a little bit about cults as the focal point, but we're encompassing all grifters out there, the frauds, shills, grifters. Yes, there's grifters on each side of the story, whether it be Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox, but again, it's very heavily leaned on the Xbox side of things, so we're going to take this episode and break this down, go over the delusion, all that stuff here as well. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what I want to do is go over the grifter status, the shill status. What does that mean, right? What's going on in between everything, right? What do we have going on ultimately is very heavily leaned on the Xbox side of things. Again, there's grifters, there's preference, fanboys, there's all this sort of stuff. But there's a difference between a fan and a fanboy. I've stated this multiple times, right? A fanboy is taking things to another level where you're seeking that delusion, that sheep mentality. Nothing that the corporation that you are supporting, the brand that you're supporting, does no wrong. You don't call it out ever. I've called out PlayStation in my videos multiple times. We go over the salty batch files multiple times. That's what the segments is. It's not the salty batch files for PlayStation. It is specifically asked for by the community into the Xbox theme. Not, again, saying that there's nothing on the PlayStation side of things. That's not the case. There is. However, again, what I want to point out is the levels that they're going to and the oddities of it, of what they're going to at this point in time as well. Do we see the nuances here? Do we see the new grifters that are coming into the play of things, and somehow they're garnering a ton of subs and they're doing this and they're doing that, all for the sake of delusion, all for the sake of fake hyping things up, misinformation, trying to play things off in another light, all this weird stuff. So let's show some examples. And again, we have most examples from Colt because he's really come to terms with a lot of things as of recently. And, he's had some videos pop out where he's been part of this podcast. He's been crashing out all over on social media in regards to the direction that Xbox is heading into. So what do? They double down on their delusion, but then they slip up at times, and we'll show the video here in a minute. But let's show the first one. He's crashing out about the fact that Sony is licensing their, party games out there. So what is he crashing out about? He's crashing out about PlayStation licensing out some IPs to like Bandai Namco and such like that. And this is not the first thing that you think of when you're thinking, oh, now they're third party. Now that means that they're, totally third party and they're releasing their games everywhere else. Licensing is something completely and utterly different. And we will go over that here in just a second as well. But just some receipts here, right? We have Colt here. PlayStation is a third-party publisher. Switch 2 is now a PlayStation, and it's not even out yet. Playing the light of things because everything's now an Xbox. So now he's got to say, well, since Xbox failed, PlayStation's got to fail too, right? That's some of the narratives that some of these grifters are doing. You know what? Xbox failed. We want PlayStation to fail. We want PlayStation to go in the same stream that Xbox is heading through, right? That's what they want because they don't feel as bad about their choices and their delusion and their support and their blind loyalty and their grifting, ultimately. It's not even on Xbox, but again, playing in the fact they're third party. Newsflash, PlayStation has technically been third party for quite some time. Are they to an extent the third party notion that Xbox is, where they're leasing out or putting out their actual IPs by them publishing and creating in-house for God of War, Horizon, Last of Us, Uncharted, you name it, right? Astrobot. Nothing like that is happening or even close to happening to be on a competing platform, whether that be the Switch or not. There's nuances and there's levels to this, but again, they want you to believe these false narratives. So what Colt continues to do is double down on this, right? He doubles down on here. Sony owns the IP. It's 100% still first party. He doesn't quite grasp it and he wants to double down without doing any research. He wants to make that narrative a thing. He thinks because he's Colt Eastwood and he has 77k followers, which, by the way, 77k followers is a lot to be out there spreading misinformation. We'll go over that more in a bit. And of course, Mangst, right? Hey Grok, if Sony owns the IP but Bandai Namco is publishing the IP, does that mean that Sony is a third-party publisher? Asking Grok. What is Grok? Grok is basically kind of an equivalent to Siri, right? You're asking an AI questions. It filters the web through Google, YouTube, all sorts of, online prowess stuff. So no, it's not 100% correct all the time. Do not, sit there and bank on it to give you all sorts of answers and take that to the limit or anything like that. But for the most part, it does a very good job. And what Grok says, as you can see here, Sony isn't a third-party publisher here. They own the Everybody's Golf IP, but licensed it to Bandai Namco, who's publishing the game on PS5, Switch, and PC in 2025. That makes it a third-party title, with Bandai Namco as the publisher, not Sony. So it spells it out in layman's terms, right? Spells it out in layman's terms here for Mr. Colt here, and I don't believe he responded to this. I didn't see a response to it. It wasn't provided to me. Couldn't locate it. So, do you see how he doubles down, and he has to sit there and be outdone by an AI system? All he has to do is do the information search himself on Google, google.com, yahoo.com, whatever search engine you want to do. Bing? You want to do Bing? Go to Bing. Check it out. Do some research. But again, they double down. Do we see what they try to do to shift and control the narrative? Oh, but, we're not done there, guys. We're not done. We have to go over this here. So we have a video I want to share with you as well here. All right. That video encasing his little podcast with Gaz, of course, the other shill and fraud. And he does a better job at trying to not stick his foot in his mouth. He likes to double down as well and act like he's not ever wrong. But he is. But ultimately, this is about Colt on this episode here. What we're talking about as well in this clip. Go ahead and take a look at this real quick.
I want to tell you the only reason why the Xbox Series S and X stopped flying off the shelves, and it wasn't because of the pandemic. These effers from 2022 to most of 2024 had no games. No games. They had no effing games.
Yep.
They had nothing. 2022, they gave us Grounded and Pentiment. That was it. 2023, they made us wait all year. They put out Hi-Fi Rush, was awesome. Nobody bought it. And then they waited and waited and waited to put out the worst Forza Motorsport and Starfield, which is amazing, but that was at the end of the year. And then 2024, they gave us Hellblade, and then he made us wait another 6 to 9 months. It drove me ape shiz while I continued to podcast every week and make videos, and I tried to find out what I could be excited about.
So how enlightening is this video, this clip right here alone? He literally admits in so many different ways and variables that he sits there and tries to find reasons to get hyped. He was very disappointed, basically being very disappointed that all he was getting in a year was like Pentiment and so on. And like, well, Hi-Fi Rush, and Hi-Fi Rush is really good. That was a good game though. And then Gaz, of course, chimes in, like I said, well, PlayStation didn't really buy it much either. Why would we have to? It's not a first-party game that the ecosystem's, relying on, right? They don't have to buy this. This isn't a Sony first-party game. That's when fans of an ecosystem that wanted to thrive would do something for. Again, that's due to lack of marketing. That's due to lack of many things on Microsoft's end. So don't blame PlayStation ecosystem. They didn't do it either. So what did Microsoft have to do about it? You're never holding them accountable like you can until it's too late, like what we're seeing right now. It's too late. They should have done better marketing. I don't think it should have been shadow dropped. There's a lot of different things they should have went about this game. It being a pretty good game. I still haven't had my hands on with this, but I haven't really come across anybody that doesn't like the game as a whole. There's some that are like, I just don't like the rhythm action. That's not me, not for me. Understandable. Everybody has different tastes, different strokes, different folks, all that stuff. But ultimately, it's adhered as a fantastic game, a really good quality game, right? So again, you see how they're always shifting around. But then again, like we just seen, he was trying to find ways to get hype. So he's been lying to people about him being hyped and excited for. He's trying to find any avenue. I'm sorry. Let's take a quick pause here. Let's take a quick pause. Why are you in an ecosystem where you're having to take a step back, sit there in your little broadcasting chair there for a minute and going like, man, this has really been another tough generation for this ecosystem and for this brand and this hardware and all this stuff. What can I be excited about? Because right now, quite frankly, I've been very upset and not really happy with this, but the grift must grift. The shilling must continue. I've got an audience, I got money to make, and I have to make sure my audience is happy. So therefore, I will gloss over everything and make sure that they're understanding that everything's okay. Don't worry, these first-party games aren't heading anywhere. Don't worry, Pentiment is a fantastic game. Everybody's going to like that. Don't worry. Hi-Fi Rush is just the tip of the iceberg here. We're going to get a lot of great quality titles like this. Everything's just fine. The Game Pass subscribers are just fine. The games in general are just fine. They're great, as a matter of fact. Hellblade 2 is fantastic. This is going to knock everybody's socks off. Redfall was fantastic. I went and had hands-on. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing Colt this whole time here, so if you don't get the sarcasm, continuing here. I had hands-on with Redfall. And boy, that was great. A couple little hiccups, but it ran fantastic. I can't wait for them to flesh this out a little bit more. It's going to come in the hands of everybody. It's going to be fantastic. And it's co-op, and it's this and this and this. Constantly lying to himself, to the fans, all in the name of the grift. So ultimately, the theme of this is the grifting, the shilling. It doesn't stop. It won't end. I don't know when it will. Is it when Xbox fails to make a dent anywhere? You know, the narrative week to week is always shifting. I'm still dealing with folks that I have receipts for. I didn't say that. I didn't mean that, you know, the whole slate wasn't coming. I meant like Fable 2 wasn't coming to PlayStation. That's what I meant. The older 360 titles. Guys, that's what I meant when I said the whole slate. Of course these games are coming out. Well, you said that Starfield was coming out. Wasn't going to come out, right? Well, it's already so old at this point, guys. It's already so old at this point. And honestly, it wasn't that great. Okay, so you're shifting the goalpost. And by the way, this is a conversation I'm having with some folks online. So you're shifting the goalpost. No, you're shifting the goalpost because I had time to digest that, and there's nothing wrong with that to change my mind. It's just, it never ends. It never ends with these guys, man. And it's so bad. It's so bad. And just, sorry, let's throw up another example here real quick. We got another example. Is this coincidence or is it not? We're pulling this up, and again, we have Gaz and we have Destin, and again, we're talking about all fraud, shills, and grifters. Not just Colt. Colt, the main theme, of course, but they're all over. They're all over. But as you can see, talking about Doom, right? The new Doom, Dark Ages. It does look great. I think it's going to go hard. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Why would it not? Looks great. However, that cover goes so hard. Fire emoji. Destin, this image goes so hard. Minus the fire emoji. Minus the that to this, and then image to cover. Trying to kind of play the words. Like, are they getting these same cliff notes of footnotes and like discords? Or is this truly coincidental? Because they all sound the same when they're implementing Game Pass and talking about the value and getting to play anywhere and all this stuff. It just is so fake. It's so fake. All this stuff is so fake. It's ridiculous. And if anybody wanted to hold anything accountable and be truthful with an ecosystem and brand, maybe things could have been different. Maybe things could have been different. But no, you're sitting here lying to your followers. Destin, Gas, Colt, many others, even the newcomers garnering probably in the double digits of subs right now. I don't know. All for sheep following, all for saying misinformation, all for spreading false hype. The lying, the frauding, the grifting, the shilling, it doesn't stop. And they just sit there and do this, and you do it to yourselves. And why do you want to sit there and just be in this pit of self-despair? I don't understand. And always trying to spin that narrative. It never ends. We could talk in circles and circles and circles and circles with these guys, and it won't end. We can't change these guys' mind. Why? Because, again, brand loyalty, the grifting and shilling is going to create that income for them. If they shifted now, they're going to lose that audience. They're going to lose that audience 100%, 10 times over. You know? They know what they're doing, but it baffles me to sit there and sell your integrity. To sell your integrity, try changing up the channel a little bit, doing something a little different here. I understand if everybody was kumbaya and all peace on earth kind of thing, there would probably be no salty batch files in a perfect world, right? Everybody got along and there's no weirdo posts and stuff like that to go over. But I won't sell my integrity like these guys are doing. I just won't do it. I'm not going to make up fake false posts or make up something out of nothing. We show factual based stuff on this channel, and that's what I pride this channel and myself onto. I pride myself and the community that understands that as well within this ecosystem of this community and this page. So I thank you all for that. Because that's, again, what I pride this channel on as a whole. Integrity and being factual, not lying. So that's how high I hold the regards of stuff like that. But ultimately, just wanted to share this thoughts from the vault, like I said, in regards to what they're doing, how odd it is, and how they finally unveil that curtain just a little bit more, like we've seen from Colt this, afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever you're watching this video. And just see how truthful they are behind the scenes in a way. They finally broke down just enough. That crack was just enough to see how they truly felt and to know that they're even lying to themselves. But we'll wrap up the video here without making it too long. But I do want to hear from everybody down in the comment section below your thoughts and opinions on the matter. Do you see this? Are you starting to see this a little bit more? What I really want to hear from y'all on this. So appreciate that. Every like, comment also helps out. The algorithm helps out the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you do so, really appreciate it. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself, looking to reach that 3,500 sub goal based on truth and facts and going over and having a good time here. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.